everybody. How are you doing today? Woo, what a day. I'm Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa, and today I'm going to show you how to finish and complete this really fantastic fantasy fairy dragon paint that you guys designed. On the mic today is John. He's theoretically following me with the camera.
There it goes.
Tracking the sound, paying attention to the stream, and reading comments. Sounds like a lot.
It's a couple jobs.
Sounds like a couple things. Sounds like a couple things he's going to do. I, on the other hand, I'm just going to paint and sippy my coffee. That's what I'm doing today and teaching you guys how to do it. Today, I want to focus. This is the Big Art Quest. If you've never been here before, and right now we're doing a series called About Face, where generally we work on faces, but I did a viewer-directed live stream, and it got away from me a little bit, and now I'm painting this fantasy piece.
Yeah, but that's your...
But the sister to this, the finished fairy, she's up and ready to paint.
Yes.
I'm so glad we did her. That was actually John's idea. He's like, you got to pull it out and give him a finished face because it's going to be a whole big journey. Yeah. Every once in a while you end up on a side quest.
It's a... Yeah. It is. It is a side quest. But it's really nice. So this is really good. So today you're gonna be painting over a grisaille?
I'm going to be painting over grisaille. So this is often referred to as an umber study. A lot of oil painters do this. A lot of fantasy painters do this. I've done this in kind of a quick way. Theirs is very elegant. But basically you take a raw umber and you can use a black and a white, or you can take a burnt umber and just use a white. And you create a value study of your fantasy piece. And this gives you kind of a wonderful grisaille underpainting so you can glaze and layer over it. And you have some of those values worked out. That's especially helpful on a fantasy piece. So we're kind of working on that skill. The other thing we're going to work on today is a couple, I think if you guys could walk away from today having a little better understanding of lighting. I'm going to talk a lot about lighting and how to determine where a light source is and how that might impact your subjects. Because that's really what we battle as artists. I mean, for digital artists, that's what we battle. If we're traditional artists, that's what we battle. I think even a potter has to think about how the environment impacts the objects. So it's just something that as artists, I think we all think about in our craft and our own personal journeys with whatever we're making. How you guys doing?
Oh, there are lots of people saying hello
I've
to
been working. I'm wearing my YouTube
like your
today because
hair.
I've been away YouTubing.
Yeah, they were saying that they like your hair today. Looks very nice with the red.
Well, I had to do my hairs and all because I was like, John and I actually were featured panelists on Creator Day.
We went to Creator Day. That was so
we
much
got
fun.
To answer questions to people who are starting out in YouTube, as people who've been on YouTube a minute and theoretically are, I don't know, doing something.
Yeah, we met a lot of really awesome creators here in Houston, and we're gonna be meeting up and doing a lot more with them.
Got a whole bunch of training that won't help us at all.
Yeah,
it totally will. It's very helpful training, and maybe it will make your videos better.
Yeah, we bumped into it was really nice because we bumped into a lot of our old YouTube friends, and we met a lot of new YouTube friends. But
yeah,
we'll
making the YouTube friends.
But people are very excited about this. So is there going to be a traceable for this when we're done?
There is a traceable.
There is a traceable. Okay, very good.
Right now, there's a traceable. There's a step-by-step to get to here. You can see the video where we started to put this in. Basically, all this is. A lot of it is either located on the website, TheArtSherpa.com, in the Big Art Quest, under this quest, or you can join the Big Art Quest Facebook group. Gotcha. And right now there's some pictures like documenting this series and, of course, the traceable. So we try to make this super findable.
So
super findable.
So what colors are you going to be using here?
Oh, so many colors. But we were told to get some new colors.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be featuring those for some fantasy sky. And we're going to talk about how this sky, even though it's going to be a night sky and kind of a fantasy sky, is a light source, as well as this mystical mirror. So we're going to be using these two areas as places that can be casting light. So this is natural light, and this is going to be unnatural light. We could just sit there. We could have just as easily made it a computer screen. It would be doing very similar things. So I'm going to start putting out some colors to begin. I think I'm going to work on the sky first. So I'm going to put out my phthalo blue. Phthalo blue. And then I'm also going to put out, for sure, magenta. This is primary magenta. Sometimes they call those process magentas. And really what they're saying is that that is part of the CMYK. I can't say it. You say it, John. CMYK.
CMYK.
Process. Here is the teal. And we had all those exchange colors mentioned in the group. You know, basically this is like an, if you have Liquitex Basics, it's an aqua green. Dollar and Rally has one, Deco has one, everybody's got one. So it's not, you know, one of those things where it's going to be like, man, I can't even get that color. I'm putting out some titanium white. And I think I'm going to start my sky with these. I will probably add stars. If you're brand new here, what is this weird stuff I just put out? This is gloss glazing liquid. Okay. I really, in Spy Theories, am not, there's no reason for me to show you a product unless the product helps me. Really, at the end of the day, there's just no reason for me to show you something unless it helps me. This is one of my favorite things. It slows the drying time down on my paint and allows me to glaze.
Gotcha.
So I like it a lot. And so therefore, I share it with you. All right, I'm going to take, this is a number 10 Bright, Bristlon Bright. It has synthetic filaments, and it's not going to take in too much water, but I'm going to dip in and drag off extra. I'm going to start painting in my sky. Even though I'm doing a night sky, I want it to be quite luminous, so I'm going to probably not take it any deeper than a pure phthalo blue. And I may have to switch to a smaller brush for around the tree. So what I'm going to be doing is just painting in my whole sky a uniform, initially a uniform blue. We're going to be messing up. Now you're going to see it pulling back and doing a resist. That is because I did a pencil sketch and I used a very light amount of varnish. Oh, what did I forget again?
I don't know. What did you forget?
Rag.
Rag? Oh, I'll get you one. Hold on.
Rag. I'll sippy. And also get a smaller brush because I don't know what the heck I'm doing works with such a big brush around fiddly bits. Fiddly bits! How are you guys doing? Fiddly bits! Not really an effective exclamation of frustration, is it? Fiddly bits! Nobody's going to really back up and go, we better not cut that lady off. She said fiddly bits. Not at all. All right, so I'm going to get back in here. I'm just getting more blue. It's all blue for a minute. But now I can kind of
Boom. All right.
get around my objects. Listen, don't be too precious about things because you're coming back. This is one of those many layered pieces. If you ever seal, and you wouldn't want to use a lot because it creates underbinding issues, but if you ever seal a pencil sketch down on a canvas with a light coating of varnish, know that you cannot use a lot of water in your paint when you're coming up over it.
Now,
you probably won't get binding.
Why didn't you paint the sky before you did your Grisaille study?
Because really wouldn't have been able to do a Grisaille study. It would have been all blue.
Oh, okay, right. So they were asking why didn't you paint the sky first?
Yeah, that's why.
Because you were doing a study and with
Yeah.
the so.
So we were going to, these are just different skills. Like sometimes I like to take you guys through different options that you have as artists because sometimes things just won't be your jam.
Gotcha.
Now I'll be coming back and putting a lot of these branches back, right? But I have them in and their layout is there. And you can see even as the blue glazes over them, because the blue is somewhat, see? The blue is transparent enough, I can almost glaze over them. And not be precious. Look at that. Do that if I wanted to. See, so there's just options here. And sometimes in art, what you're looking for is options for you to move around and have your space within something you're doing creatively. There can be this perception of pass-fail, right, wrong, winning, losing in art. I think it's just a carryover from all the other stuff we have in life. Doesn't really fit here, though. Doesn't really fit into our actual world.
Everyone is wishing us good weather out there. They've noticed that we were having a little trouble here. So, but the stream's been holding up quite nicely here. So I've seen nice solid signal. So it looks like we're going to be having no problems today.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to glaze over my branches. Just not even, this is how not precious I'm going to be about it. I'm going to just glaze over them.
You keep messing with me there. You keep going over and touching it and then looking away.
Well, see, I can just really easily glaze over this subject, right? This can push back anyways. It's into the night sky, right? It's going to be really easy for me to come back and put this in. And you can see, like, right here, it's not a big deal if this blue gets on this rock because...
Just doing a light glaze on it anyway.
Yeah. So these are just things that you may not have to be as worried about. You know, if I don't have a bright zone right here at the sky where I'm trying to maintain a certain light dark, this is something I can do. So I would say that this is more challenging as a piece because there's a lot of complexity in how it's built up. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this turned into a really big piece for all of us just as it was, as it got bigger and bigger and longer and longer. And I planned to have stayed in the first day I was painting in this sky, stay in the whole day and go till it finished, like even if that was 4 hours. But the shoulder just said no.
It said, I don't think so.
It really did. It just completely denied that journey.
That's okay.
So I'm going here and, you know, my brush strokes are streaky, but we're early days and there's a lot of sky to go. So I'm just not going to worry about it too much. One of the things, and I'm going to show them to you, and then I'm also going to make sure there's an album in the Big Art Quest and probably on the page on the website, is I have some reference photos that I'm using for the objects in my world. This is my opinion. I don't care if you're a digital artist in your world building or you're a traditional painter and you're painting fantasy. References to the objects, like objects that are similar to what you're painting in your fantasy world, are critical to ending up with something that feels really authentic and believable. So if I can get you in the practice, and I don't mean like, you know, like steal like Robin Hood from our photographer brothers and sisters out there on Pinterest. I'm certainly not encouraging that. But, you know, there's a lot of reference sites that you can have a membership to.
Mm-hmm.
There are free resource photo sites like Paint My Photo, right? Or Pixabay. Lots of them. Be aware, though, sometimes it seems like a website is a free resource site, and it's not. Places like Flickr are not free resource sites.
Yeah, you have to license those, huh?
Well, I believe it is an use case by use case scenario. I think that Flickr is each artist determines their rights.
Oh yeah, that's right. I guess so. Yeah, because I think that's where like individual photographers can like share their photography.
But interestingly enough, it's real easy to, you know, get those images off the site and put them on Pinterest in different places. So it can seem like it's from a free place.
Oh yeah.
And it's not. So, and you know, sometimes it's okay to even look at pictures just for reference if you're not taking real direct elements too. That, you know, would, you know, impact the photographer itself as well. I'm just deepening the sky here and having a nice little painting day. You guys are just with me on my nice little painting day. I'm going to put some deep blue right here.
Funny. So someone just came in late and they were like, did Cinnamon paint all that in the last 20 minutes?
Yes. Yes, I am the greatest artist on YouTube. Forget it, Josiah. It is now I, the great painter of some brown scale. He's sitting somewhere in Australia going, what? Was there a disturbance on the force? No. Having fun.
No, we did the Cinnamon did this the grisaille study here while over the little break so that it was all ready for today.
Yeah.
Sure
but it would be cool to be that awesome. Dude, I am not a speed doodler. And one of the things that happens when we go to these YouTube training courses is there's some drawing component of whatever we've got to do. And then everyone hands me the paper and they're like, yeah, doodle this out. And then they're always so disappointed. Because I'm like, I do what you do. I'm like, little head, little guy, little feet. He might have a little more action to him. He might be more Bean Man. But I'm not, that's not my process.
Yeah, you're not a Marvel artist.
No. I marvel at the Marvel artists, though.
Yeah. No shade to the DC guys.
None. Only respect for the DC guys. They just have a different, skill set.
Yep.
And, you know, as artists, to the degree that we can, we should respect each other's skill sets.
So Shelley would like to know. So this one's a 3-hooter, huh?
This is super 3-hoot. And
Yeah.
the fact that we designed a fantasy design,
And so for
even more so, because we're talking about how we create original work. Like this series, I think we're into 3 videos now. This will be 3 videos. This 3 videos is about how you get original work created.
Yeah, and so for those of you guys who are just joining us, we rate our paintings on a scale of 1 to 3. You know, 1 being if you've never painted before, you can pick it up and easily do it, and 3 is when you've got a few paintings under your belt, and you've got a little more confidence, and you're ready to try something a little more complex.
No, 3 is a little more complex than that. That you just described 2.
Yeah.
What you just said was 2. 3
Okay.
is that you really have a lot of your skills down. You're just not ready to go on your own yet, and you need some real challenges.
Well, there you go.
Right, but you're not ready to just, fly free, little bird.
Or to the dragon, or fairy, or
Yeah.
whatever
Now-
mythical beast you may be.
I have the option, so I'm going to take advantage of it, and I happen to have the Galaxy brush.
Yes.
You could use a stiff toothbrush. This is not a toothbrush. This is an actual brush.
This is a specific paintbrush.
It really is.
This is a paint brush. And whereas most, it's like most
You would never put it in your mouth.
No.
It's really good for stain removal, though.
Yes.
All right.
And getting, things out of
I'm really loving this. All right, so when I do this brush, what I like to do is I dip down. If you guys have a set of these in, dipping this in. And I like to use the fluid paint because it's going to come off. You can kind of see it on my palette there, very predictably. What I'm trying to avoid is big glops of paint that can get away from me. And up at the top, more than down low, I'm going to put some stars. Since I'm painting over a lot of my grisaille, I don't have to worry about these little white spots getting places. Haha, right?
nice.
And now I have a starry sky. Because I don't want to have to struggle for my stars. Now, my 2 cents, if you have one of these brushes, do not soak them in the water.
Right.
And the bristles go right into the
hold on.
wood, so there's always some stuff
I
happening
can't
there.
see down there yet. Hold on.
However,
There
I
it is.
really abused one a whole bunch
Yeah.
when I was testing them, and decided that this would be one of those tools that I just, if I had found it, like if we hadn't designed it and I had found it, I would just be limping along with it for a decade, and all the paint would be flaked off of it, and I wouldn't even care. So I figured it's better to have a unique tool out there that you guys can get than worry about the
The paint finish.
paint cracky thing.
Yeah.
Can I ask a huge favor?
You want
It's
microwave?
early. Yeah.
Microwave. Oh yes, we can do that.
Look how cool I look. I'm the coolest artist on YouTube. I bet I'm getting dislikes for just this hat and being an artist on YouTube. Well, I know you guys do, because you guys are cool. All the cool people love art. That's right. So, while John's heating up the coffee, I want to get up on my soapbox for a second and say that I've noticed something in the TheArtSherpa official Facebook group. Of course, on the website, because you guys have unlimited sharing where you can share your art on our website. On all the social media, really, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, just everywhere you guys share with me, and even in the Big Art Quest, where you apologize for being imaginative. It's really interesting. You guys are creative and whimsical and funny, and you will be very apologetic for your imagination. And you'll say things like, I'm just crazy. Oh, well, the 60s really got me. And I just want to say, like, just a personal Sherpa challenge to you. If you came to this live, if you're here on the replay and you're hearing these words right now, go for a week and try your best to not apologize for being creative, whimsical, different, imaginative, for intrinsically being you. And it's going to be harder than you think. But it's just, if you're here right now, I'm going to do it too. I'm just going to challenge you to just not say sorry for being who you are.
I agree with that because we need to celebrate being those things.
Yes.
Not apologize for them.
Very much. Okay. I don't have a hairdryer.
You don't have a hairdryer. Well, I will go find one of those.
I am not a professional today. It's in my bathroom. because I kidnapped my hair dryer to dry my hair. Do you have art tools that live in a couple rooms in your house? So it's like kind of a hair drying tool, but sometimes it's a painting hair dryer. I have one of those. I really need to, I had to, but I don't know where the other one went. To just be real candid, I just don't know where it went. And so now I'm down to the one, which used to be just for my hair, but now is both hair and painting. I'm so sorry, babe. Do I need to step out? Stepping out. It's the glaze. It slowed me down. I'm holding it. I'm so sorry. John is very nice and helpful. He's helping me right now. Also, he just thinks it's really funny when I almost fall down getting stuff worked out. Thank you, babe. Want to turn on? Why? Oh, okay. I was like, don't, like, is it going to lock out the power? So you can see how the sky went in much better than you would think it would with fiddly bits. So I hope everybody takes the just absolutely no apologizing for their own imagination this week.
Okay, so now there we go. Now it's turned down. Thank you guys. Oh my gosh. Thank you for being patient with us while we did that. Forgot our hairdryer. That was rather silly. So anyway, thank you for thank you for hanging on with it. We're doing that. We think so. We got everything plugged back in here, and yeah, you know, a little loss for words here, but that's not terribly unusual, is it? So we've been gone for a while and haven't done this in so long. I feel like, you know, it's like I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. So one of the things I should remember is that I do want to see all your guys' paintings of this. This has been a big project. It's been like a 2 or 3 part now. So I do hope that, hold on. I was just saying that I hope that I get to see a lot of these. I know it was a 2 or 3 parter.
Yeah,
and it's been
like 4. I'll take 4. 4 brave souls to just paint this. I'll take it, and I'll keep painting those sunset piers till the cows come home.
Mm-hmm.
Which in Texas could be really soon because there's cows all over our area, like everywhere. Like seriously, I'm not even being funny. I am hopefully being funny, but it's actually factual too. Like there's cows downtown. They're like the downtown cows. Okay. So the next part, I'm going to show you some dry brushing, and I'm going to do it with both a bristle brush and a cloud brush. And the reason I do this is I love my clouds, but I really, really want you to understand tools are very dispensable, exchangeable things in art. The only indispensable thing in this journey is you. So just don't get wrapped up that you need to have a particular tool. You need some techniques under your belt, and you need a couple ways to get there because you never know like where you might be having to do stuff with who knows what. But remember, the only indispensable part of the painting is you. All right, so I'm going to start out to that end with this nice stiff bristle brush. Oh, I want to do actually this. That's a Grand Prix. So I'm going to do this Cambridge, and I'm going to use the Cambridge because it has a synthetic filament. So the issue with bristles is that they tend to get very, 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 very dry. Right? They get very, 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 very dry. But when you get them wet, then they get all soft. And it can feel like they're stiff brushes, then you get them into the world and they're not. So I'm taking this aqua, and I am wandering up this sort of, this isn't really an aurora borealis, it's not really a smoke. And you can see I'm just dry brushing this out here, right? I'm just dry brushing this out. I'm not adding water to my brush. I might add white to my paint if I want to brighten it, lighten it, see, make it different colors. And you can see I'm curving to the right, I'm coming up, and this is like a calligraphy type of activity. I am pulling up this energetic space here into the sky. You know, you might be using an aqua green from Basics. That's okay too. I am not rinsing out my brush because the minute I rinse it, it is going to soften even a little bit. Even though this has synthetic filaments, you may still notice some softening. Now under here, I'm going to paint this all with this green, this aqua. The aqua, aqua, aqua. Which is a very luminous right? And can be kind of a challenging color to mix, which is why I think it's good to have in the paint kit. Some colors are challenging to mix, so they're good to have in the paint kit. I'm painting around the nose here. I'm going to make sure that it's better that I paint a little bit into this part of him than not paint him. I'm going to offload the excess paint. I might get some white on here so I have some value changes. Just adding this sort of mystical property to the sky. Could be like a smoke, see? We're going to contrast this with a very intense pink. But can you kind of feel the energetic stuff going up? Mr. Cooney, you're so quiet. I don't know you're there.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I've just been getting into the readings here.
What do you read? You got to read it and share it.
Oh, I've been watching actually the stream here. So I've been flipping back and forth on statistics, making sure, because of the weather and stuff.
Yeah, the
so
stream is
sorry.
such a thing.
Yeah, sorry I was quiet. It's because I was checking the weather report and making sure that everything was going well, cuz I saw the stream jump in here a little bit, but it looks like it's holding up okay.
Now, I'll be using some more of this aqua maybe around the mirror. And so this is a color that's going to be sort of throughout. It'll actually be reflected a little in the grass and possibly on the rocks. Now I have to rinse this out, and I'm going to want it, and I'm going to switch to my other scum bowl, right? But I am taking my towel and pulling out the extra moisture. If all you have is a bristle brush, you'll need to do that really well every time, just to keep it stiff enough to work in this process. So now I'm going to grab on, this is a number 4 cloud. You would keep using your same bristle brush if that's what you had in your home. I'm adding a little white to it, and let's add, some pops of pink. I'm going to dry brush and ephemeral, a little bit of pop, see? And pink. Come in here and there's a little bit of pink. And this is just going to be about weaving these little bits together. And this should feel a little like smoke. Right? This should feel a little like Aurora Borealis.
Mm-hmm.
Should have a little of that feeling to it, right? Hopping against each other. Coming in here, you can kind of see I'm working these colors.
Yep.
Now, one of the things I'm noticing on my monitors, you may not be seeing these as bright as they are. So I'm not sure.
They're turning out okay.
Are they seeing them very bright?
Yeah, they seem to be pretty bright.
Okay. Because on my monitor, they're not.
See, you can see there a little better. Yeah, she has a lot of bright lights on her, so it's hard to see.
It is. It's really hard to see. So I never know what you guys are. Come up here and just layering these against each other. Something fun, something different. In this world, be unexpected. When you're painting fantasy, be unexpected. Just dry brushing it. So you could do either brush. All right, you could do either brush. I'm going to come in, I'm going to do an interesting thing here. I'm going to add a little phthalo green, I think. Phthalo green. Always nice to have phthalo green and phthalo turquoise together anywhere I'm painting. And I will hit this with some cad yellow. Because I really, really want to play with this mystical element of it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have this, look at this very tiny. See now, this is bristle again. Tiny bristle, and I'm going to make a very bright green. You can even add a little white to it. Come into here.
Where are you at there?
And, make some of this sort of...
I didn't expect that.
What?
green in there. I thought you were going to go put like green in grass or something.
Well, there'll be some green in the grass, but
Yeah,
this is magic. Magic is illuminated.
I'm with Francis. I love the color palette. This is looking really cool.
This is a different thing than we normally do, and that's okay. Take risks. You know, remember, you don't have to post everything in social media to everyone. You can just share it in your safe spaces. So you can take risks. And see, I'm just dry brushing that there. And when I'm happy with that, because I just want a bit of that, I just want a little of that drum in the sky, I can put out more of my paint, sippy sippy. You know. I almost thought about putting out some of this luminous color.
Ooh.
It might be fun.
Luminous.
You don't have to do that, guys. But I just want to see how it pops. Is it noticeable in its space? Is, I guess, my curious question.
In what space? In
this
the
space.
In the glowy space. Let's see.
You know, because this isn't always even about having black lights. Sometimes this is about.
Ooh, that is kind of poppy. It does.
Does
jump
it
out
add
a little
another
bit. Oh, yeah.
layer?
I think it does, don't you?
You know, sometimes things add, sometimes they take away, and you've just got to be like, brave enough to be like, I don't know, maybe let me see.
A little bit, just a little bit here and there. This looks cool.
Yeah.
Oop. Up you go.
I want to congratulate everyone. There's been a rush of people winning awards at art shows lately.
Oh, yeah, I noticed.
Which is kind of cool.
That's been pretty awesome.
I've enjoyed watching that.
What are you putting out there?
I'm putting out some burnt sienna. Put out way more luminous rose than I needed to. But basically, this is just a neon paint, guys.
Just a little, you play.
I'm going to also put out some Indian yellow. I very rarely seriously do a landscape without like this and nickel azo. I won't have nickel azo today, but I just generally will have those in my palette. I'm going to also add some zinc white, which you guys remember is very transparent. I might need that for a fog effect. I've got my CAD yellow medium out, and I could probably put out a little more of that. I'm probably going to be going through that and mist my area. You know. I expect down the road I'm going to be needing probably the Alizarine Crimson and the CAD Red Light, but I'm not going to put them out yet. I might get my Mars Black out.
So once you get all those out, and I may have you give me just a moment to...
oh yeah, I could sippy some coffee.
And then I'll have you recap what you've put out there.
Okay.
So we'll get those sprayed down there.
I am misting. Okay, so what this is this micro mister. You guys have been very generous. I get these in the mail. And they dispense a nice light mist. I don't do a wet palette for a whole series of reasons, but I do have a video on how to make a free one. And I do use that one. But I may not if somebody takes away my cake. That really only works if you eat cake. Or get like... maybe a meat platter from the grocery store. You need to go to the grocery store and get one of their little trays. So I'm going to start putting in my tree.
Okay.
You know. Oh, a yellow ochre. That was the color I forgot to put out. And I know I need it. So many yellows in this painting. So many yellows, John.
So many yellows.
So many yellows. So this is yellow ochre, which is not that different from yellow oxide. Basically, yellow oxide is a chemical, like a hue process of it, and yellow ochre is from the earth. Just a short answer. All right, so I'm going to take my little brush here, my number 2 Cambridge, and I'm going to come and get a little of my burnt sienna, and I'm weirdly going to add, interestingly enough, not black, but a little blue to it to deepen it. And I'm going to come where I perceive that I've got shadows. And in these little dashing strokes, because this is wood, I'm going to add some of this deep value. And I'm adding it to the outside because this part that's bent over it, right? And because the mirror is going to be like, just think of it like a computer screen. It would force a cast shadow right there. even though there is some light, which we'll come back and add to some of the surface from the sky. I'm going to add some darkness there. So what I'm thinking about is the light catching there, and I imagine if this were a round object, what would be blocking my light? That's how I determine this. What would be blocking my light? Right, that could have more of a shadow on that side.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to pay attention to those things that are blocking my light. But you have to visualize, you have to practice. And here's the thing, not everybody visualizes. So you may have to do some things like where you ask yourself what you know about trees. And, really, think about all the facts that you have about oak trees. And also really seriously use a reference photo, because you may not have, the same kind of inner eye that I do. But that doesn't mean that you can't be creative.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to...
Putting the shadow here. What's up, babe?
Well, they're having some buffering issues here.
I'm wondering if we're going to be able to keep doing lives. We have them scheduled out so far, but we're having all these troubles.
I think what we're going to do is even if we have trouble with our lives, we're going to push through with them, and then we'll just upload the finished.
Oh, okay.
We'll upload the,
the recorded one?
The recorded one, and then, so that way they know it's going to happen, and, we can just, we can drop the recorded one right after this.
I think that's a reasonable thing to do. So I'm adding the little shadow here to the brow. If you've been doing the big art quest, honestly, these little face skills come into play here, right? They're coming into play. On the back side of this tree trunk, I'm going to add this deep shadow across here, And then actually, with the exception of some light that's reflecting on this tree, I'm going to put in very dark shadow, which is one of the reasons I didn't mind it getting dark with the glazing. So have we lost everybody?
No, there's still a bunch of people still here.
Sometimes you do this thing, John does this thing where you guys are like the little stream is collapsed, but he wants me to keep going like it's live, and then he doesn't tell me, and I'm like all talking like everybody's here.
No.
And I'm like, and then later I find out nobody was there. You're such a goof.
No, it's our feed's been going up and down here. There's a whole we got 200 and so people still hanging out with us here. We've had the feed coming up and down here on this one. It's been really rough, I think, today. But
we'll just re-upload, right?
Yeah, but the feed has been coming back up here, and I think it should be stabilized here. And
adding a little shadow right here above the forehead to create some character.
I think it really has to do with the weather that we have going on right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
It could be our weather. Weather's not good for internet connection. Don't really get how that's connected, but okay. Alright, so see, I've just sort of put that back in. And then as I'm going, what I can do is I can just get some more red, but see I'm pulling it into the color I mixed. So this isn't pure pigment, it's not super light. It's got some of the other color in it. You can pull this in. You can see I'm doing these little dashing strokes. Trying to keep it feeling barky. Keeping it barky. You want to keep it barky, man. Just keeping the tree barky. That's a little texture. And it may be hard for the camera to even almost pick up some of the value differences that we're painting down, but these are important differences, and you've got to step it up in stages. This would apply if you were painting a miniature.
Yep, I think we can see them here. It's doing pretty good.
All right, awesome. I'm thinking about where light could be. Even if it's very distant starlight, where could it be hitting branches or the edges of things? And, try to Keep thinking about that. Thinking about that. And if you know you're not sure, you can always just get into the glaze, and this is what the grisaille is for. So you'd be like, well, I feel like it's a little deeper. See how the glaze works?
Yeah.
And it doesn't take away all of your hard work that you put in with your dark colors and your light colors. But it starts to unify the piece. Putting that in, right? Get some of this deep brown. Just layering this up because this is the ground in front.
Mm-hmm.
Mixing my burnt sienna into my other darker color. I'm going to kind of lighten the inside of this tree a little bit. Keeping this still quite dark and pulled away, but just adding some texture, some personality. You know, we can take some of this yellow ochre and mix it into this brown. Maybe on the outside of that eye and right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming inside. Down the nose. Side of the lip. So you can see that these are pretty neutral colors. There's a little bit right here under this eye. Just giving shape to everything.
Sorry, I'm so quiet. I'm just watching and reading. They were asking, can you make it 3 paintings? Maybe you should do a dragon too.
There's a dragon right here.
I would do the dragon as a separate painting.
Oh!
And I was like, wow, I don't know if I should suggest what
Nope.
yeah. but I realized, well, that's what everybody's talking about, so I probably should talk about it.
You should let me know. Well, we can always do more fantasies and more dragons.
Yeah.
I don't mind. You know, as long as we're getting out enough of the videos that,
Oh, I keep missing where you're going.
you know, are just the painting lessons for our non-questers who are just coming to paint and relax.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind throwing in more and more paintings just for the, you know, kind of core group.
Yeah.
Just doesn't bug me. So just pulling and slowing here. Gonna give some of this color. Just adding some of this bark here. Back and forth. See, just using this. See how that becomes very barky? Bark, bark, bark. You know, you can take a little of this and add some white to it, and you get this kind of grayed out color. That's very light, but it's still, it looks like weathered wood. Come here and some of that there, and maybe a little bit on the nose there, and put it here on the chin, and just weathering up that wood. Weather the wood. What would the weather of the wood do? I don't know. This probably.
It's weathery outside today.
It's weathery outside today.
It's very weathery.
It's very weathery today. I'm just creating this.
And it's Texas weathery, which is like, you know, there's just going to open up buckets of rain from the sky.
Yeah. Dusting the top of my branches with a color, see? Dusting the top of them with a color. So again, if you've never painted before, this would be a lot to take on. But if you've been painting a while and you're just trying to figure out how do you get yourself to the next place, this is a really good challenge to take on. And it doesn't really even matter how it works out for you. It is the process of taking on the challenge that really matters, is can you take these objects to the place that you want to? Any of them. Just add some of these. We know there's going to be some bright light coming from in here. There might be some dusting of that here, see?
Mm-hmm.
We're just popping these objects. Pop, pop, pop. Just working these things together. And then I might come get a much more defined tool and then come in with a little brown and black. And it's interesting, you're like, well, you use the blue in brown, but now you're using the black, because this is going to give me my deepest depth.
Mm-hmm.
Creating the finish that I need to have in the painting. And that's what you're looking for, and you can kind of see the face is taking shape. We can really, I feel, see the face. Hopefully you guys do too. Casting a shadow under the branches. Shadow up into here. And this shadow is quite harsh simply because of the light that's going to be on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all that's happening there. Little shadow right there. Little depth of shadow. I'm going to come and redefine these little broken kind of barky bits. I lost them in my paint. You can also come back if you're losing the edge of this here on the tree and add a highlight to part of that to help it pop. So this broken hollow is really about the highlights and lowlights.
Cool.
There we go. Just pulling this little branch out. There it goes.
Oh, there you are.
And you know, anywhere there's a bright light, there are harsh shadows cast, because the light will always create those. Unless it's a very dispersed, diffuse light. But if it's a fairly focused light, you're gonna see some shadows. So you've got to think about that in the ground around the area. I'm just making sure this guy's got some dark little aspects there. So I'm gonna have a little sippy sippy.
Yes.
I am.
Why are you doing that? It's worked.
It's all fine. It's all fine, man. So I'm going to take this teal and my glaze, and I'm going to come all inside here with this. All inside here with this, even on her.
They said that was working. They said that did, when I jiggled the wires, that helped.
Jiggling the wires have helped today.
It did. It worked. So, well, for as long as it works. The weather's kind of bad, so, I mean, connections can be rough.
It's so true.
Yeah.
All right. So now we have this sort of mystic, magic. It's crazy how that just worked, isn't it? You're just like, wait, what? But it then makes her look like part of a magic mirror.
Yeah.
Which is fun. Now I'm pulling some more of this blue here and going around her. She's super distant in that space. You know, I might, let me see that full, I might deepen the blue.
Okay.
So you can see how doing the tonal study on her let me push her back into the mirror. And look, I can fog her even more back into the mirror. Where she's sneaking into this, you know, mystical experience, right? So then I'm going to take some very detailed brushes and get to the rest of the fiddliness of this. Just in the eye. Which is going to create an interesting effect. Get my glaze on. Make sure I'm shaded under the lid.
All right.
Now I'm coming here with a much darker just making sure that certain parts of her are a little more in focus so that she feels a little bit like our character that we initially created. But you see a little bit of the green in the eye we're starting to put in, and
Oop, that's a button.
lighten a bit of this. So I do want her pushed back. I do want her knocked back into the mirror. We still have to see her well enough to be aware of her experience, right? That she picks up in the painting as an object that's clearly and presently there. I'm going to take my white here. Just add a couple little highlights.
Yeah.
So that, you know, we can see her and feel her and... Unexpected, right?
Yeah.
Y'all didn't know where we're going with that. I got tricks up my sleeve.
It's looking really cool.
But
I like
hopefully
how
these are
it's looking.
showing you some unexpected ideas that you might not think about. Because you might have felt, I've got to take this character and make this character as prominent as this character, especially since we spent so much time talking about her. But since we already visited her in our art narrative, we didn't really need to visit her again that deeply. Right? And so, yes, you can go in and paint her hyper-realistic, but believe it or not, the more you paint her hyper-realistic, the more it's going to pull her out of the mirror.
Yeah.
Right? So you'd have to do other stuff to push her back into the mirror. If that makes sense to everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get this blue and a little of my white. And I'm going to come in, I'm going to add a little reflection here. And a little bit of this blue reflection. In little barky strokes.
I like how that little reflection's coming on. Whoosh.
Yeah. Along this guy. Because the mirror, you know, it's putting off some light, man.
Yeah.
So we need to think about that when we're talking about the space artistically. Maybe a little bit there, and even back here we can kind of dry brush it back here. Little bits of this glowing, catching the branches, isn't it?
Wow, I like
It's
it.
a light source.
I like it.
It's fun.
It's all glowy.
It's all glowy. So we're just adding highlights where we might, you know, put a different type of light cast, but we're putting this unearthly light cast. You know? And we can do another thing with our zinc white after we get the area painted in where we put it back in some fog. So the world that, you know, is existing is still very, very, very authentic and very real. Now, one of the things that I want to have here is a dirt path down to the crystals, down to the rocks, right? And then I'm going to put a lot of grass here, right? So I've got to get in my dirt path. So to get in my dirt path, I'm going to take a little of my yellow and my black. I'm going to mix them together. I want more yellow.
Elizabeth says this reminds her of a portal in WoW. And I'm like, yeah, it actually kind of does. When you have to walk up to the portals, and there's always a whole bunch of people who are just hanging out on the other side of the portal because they just, like, you know, spawned there.
I'm just coming down with this little color around the rocks, down the dirt, you know. Just down, and you can kind of see that the painting underneath is creating tonality. Just scumbling back and forth. Just doing this. Just working it out, man.
Yeah, it looks like it's all coming together pretty neatly.
Yeah. So I'm just pulling this all out. And I might even get a little more white into it and highlight some of this. Right? So I'm highlighting some of the path. Just coming down, skipping, and I'm just thinking about the ground being bumpy, and where my mind suggests to me that the ground is bumpy, I'm adding a highlight. How am I deciding that? My mind is saying the ground could be bumpy there, and I'm like, on it! Let me put a highlight. Mind?
To make it bumpily.
Make it bumpy. Mine says good, because I wasn't feeling it, but now that you made it bumpy, I feel better about it. Now I'm going to start adding these rocks, especially these ones back here into the world.
Putting rocks in the world.
So I'm going to take a little of my blue and black together and a little of my white. I'm going to come and dry brush. Right? These rocks. So much color is going to go into these rocks, though. And notice how I'm leaving a lot of the rock underneath.
Yeah.
Already, just in two colors, it starts to take on more of a rockish form. But we're going to take it all the way to, like,
Where are you going? There you go.
lost granite.
That's pretty neat. I like it. You can see we can zoom really in there and see. You have your brush very. It has some mixing the color still on the brush there.
Yeah, I'm not even that worried about it. It's like mostly mixed at the tip, but you know. While we're at it, we can add underneath here some of this to the forward rock that our Pern style dragon is perched in. Very, very dry brushed.
Shelly says there's a smiley face in the rock.
That, see? You guys are very imaginative. I'm going to take a little of my green and my brown
I'm going to go look at that smiley face.
and mix them together. I might add a little black to it.
Look, there's that
To
smiley.
the back side of my rocks with this interesting color.
There's a little smiley face rock. Hi, smiley face rock.
Back side of my little rocks with my green and brown and black. Right, dry brush in the back.
Boy, you're fast.
Dry this up, man. It needs to not be. We're just giving this rock some personality. I may switch into my scumble, man. I might scumble it up. Do you ever scumble it up?
You going to start on the top rocks there?
Yeah, I'm gonna probably come up here. Might add a little green to my yellow. Still get some brown in it. I'm just gonna, see, just start to dry brush it up. I could have palette knifed this sucker in. Just trying to show. I'm going to imagine where the highlights are, and where I imagine the rock is more in the light, that's where I'm going to put one. It's more in the dark, I'm not going to put one. And the reason I paint them in now is I'm going to be putting in a lot of grass. And that grass, I want to be able to layer it all around the rocks to create depth in my paintings, right? Because I've got a background, a middle ground, and a foreground, and I want to retain those layers as I'm going. So I'm just looking for those front edges. And I might, to be interesting, take a little of my aqua. And just say some of this light has hit these rocks. Look at that.
Now, if you're using a softer filament brush, you may have to load more paint on your brush.
To get this?
To get you know.
I would find a stiff filament brush.
Gotcha.
I don't think it has to be this brush, but it does need to be a stiff filament to, you know, get this kind of dry brush.
See, gotcha. Okay.
If you're painting, so soft brushes, soft paint, heavy brushes, heavy paint is a good way of thinking about it, right? So soft brushes, soft paint, heavy brushes, heavy paint. And if you can kind of keep it like that, a lot of brushes out there are good for painting. Right? So just, you know, and all the brushes are perfectly fine tools. You just want the right tool for the right paint. I'm going to get some dark color here. I'm going to add some green into it. I'm going to come into this space. I think very specifically and come under here and darken it up. And I'm going to do it, you know, in this sort of scumbly motion. You could use a bristle brush to do this. Doesn't have to be this one. Just one that you can get a good, nice.
What brush are you currently using?
I'm using my number 4 cloud.
Okay.
Shockingly not for cloud.
You're just scumbling with it.
I am. I'm just creating a depth of layer that I'm going to appreciate later in my world. And I like this one because it lets me do this in a precision way, in a texture that feels very organic and natural, right? And then later will let me kind of like come in and, because I'm going to be doing some grass here, right? Oh, I think I wanted to leave that light. So I'm just going to come back and fix that. I got all scumbly.
You're getting scumble happy?
I got scumble happy.
So
what happens?
You switch back over to your...
My bristle brush. It's still too wet. See how it's soaky?
Yeah.
That's because I grabbed the Grand Prix.
Ah.
Great brush. One of the best oil brushes on the planet. Gonna switch to the Cambridge. Not all soaky. And that's really all it's about. Just don't want it to be all soaky. I'm not that worried that some green got on here because my path can have colors. Right? It can have colors. Path can have colors. It can have depth. It can have value. And you know, here I've got some just yellow and I'm dashing that out. And see, that still feels like a path.
Yeah.
You know? So don't feel like, you know, you have to have it be like, oh, it's got to be all perfect. It got to be perfect. It just has to be imaginative. So you can come into here and this, if I wet this and then take it out with my towel, I'm still going to be okay. So I'm going to take this and this. I'm just starting to put in this sort of value. Doesn't erase what I've got going on here. It just adds this beginning of the green. Pull the green that's supposed to be in there and there. So there we go. Because I'm going to be coming in pretty heavily with my grass, and I want a deep green underpainting for it. Now under my rocks, I might come in with some black and some blue. And And I'm going to really, really create some shadow into the rock and under the rock. This one here, along here, some serious shadow. Come back and put some serious, serious shadow. It's gonna be important.
I like those shadows.
Get those shadows back in and the shadows underneath.
Wow, those really just pop together like that. Just,
Yeah.
phew.
Happens. So now we got some rocks on our hill. And we could say, hey, this is a barren dirt hill and be pretty good here, but we're going to keep pushing it.
That's great.
Because that's what we do. Get some black and green, and I'm going to even come here and deepen this some.
So you're just scumbling right over the top of that there a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just like finding it and scumbling over the top of it. And okay, now this is going to be fun. If you had a rough week and you're trying to let some stuff go, this next bit going to be a really good bit.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, they're saying that we just hit 300 likes, and you know they were
Can we
like
do a little dance?
they would like to see a little dance from
I
you.
think we need to do a little dance because we're Sherpa.
I do.
300 people said, yeah, dork out on the dragon with you. That's cool on YouTube. Why not?
And we've been between 200
Why
and 300
not?
people here this entire time, but the feed keeps going up and down. So you know it's been one of those days where it's just been tough to.
Okay, John's been making hopefully it works, a surprise for you that we'll post.
I have.
So you can see this
yeah.
creation.
Yeah. And there's the button that I'm looking for. I think somewhere.
I'm
in here.
dancing to no music.
Because there's
just
no music
candidly.
yet. Yeah.
So you know.
Oh, there it goes. See, there goes some music. And there's the music. Ah, it just took me a minute to find. So thank you guys for all coming and hanging out. This has been a pretty long day so far, but we did a lot of painting. And, you know, we like to dance when we get to 300 people in the room, but today we've had this kind of bad feed, so we're going to celebrate our 300 likes because we've had a lot of people liking it today and hanging with us. And we've got over 200 people here with us now just hanging out with this great feed, and it's actually doing pretty good right now. So it's stabilized out for everyone. So if you're at home, and you're with us and you can't get up and dance, then don't forget to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes because we're still here celebrating. And I see Jay and I see Frisky Christy and I see Marilyn and Francis and Raven and all of our friends are here today. So it's been pretty nice. And Miss S. Kirker has been here and asking questions. And Alicia and Alan from England was here earlier and he was asking about brushes. And so, you know, oh man, we've had a lot of people here hanging out. It's been pretty exciting, even though I've been pushing buttons and trying to manage the stream.
Okay.
So
I think you're doing great. My opinion.
well, thank you.
My opinion. All right, I'm going to start putting some grassy grass bits in.
Okay.
So I don't want my grass to be just green.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to add some brown to it. And I am going to pull in just a smidge of my Indian yellow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to come here, and this is my faraway grass. I'm going to add the beginnings of my little grass-like strokes, which I like to do is like these little upward dashes. And I definitely, I'm going to come back with some detail work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is laying this stuff in. I'm getting it laid in. And then we'll come back in each section with some thoughtful details.
That path really glows there.
It does. And I haven't even got the blue down it. And gotta get this in between her horns. You guys really helped me determine her story.
Mm.
So that was super helpful. Now that I've got I think, through the midsection of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
The beginnings of what I'm talking about in the grass. And I've got the nice shadow on the path. I'm going to rinse this out. And I'm going to get into some fiddly stuff. I think I'll get a number 2 bright out, this ruby satin silver. And I'm going to take my Indian yellow and just come right into my green here.
Christine was saying she
and
really
just
loved.
start picking up some highlights a couple of places, not everywhere. Because the whole point of this is to have deep value and highlighted value.
Well, Christine was just saying she loved the depth of value in this and the shadows.
Just trying, yeah, and that's where, this is where it's going to come together for you. I'm going to bring some grass blades up here. And if you're having trouble, you know, finding it and covering it, you know, that's about like grab some yellow ochre and, see?
So
as long as I stay out of the CAD right now, I won't pull my grass too far forward. The phthalo can be, in my opinion, the phthalo grain can be a little transparent. And a lot of people would probably pull into some sap and stuff. I just kind of, you know, don't feel like getting some sap, so I'm going to make it cover.
You know, is there a good substitute for Indian yellow?
Any yellow deep.
Like a cad yellow deep or a cad
Yeah,
medium?
any
or
of the
hue
yellow
deep?
deeps will do great. So I've got a little of the, you'll notice the yellow ochre, my green, and I'm creating like, see? It is the depth and then the highlights that pull this together. And the fact that it isn't bright, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just get a little more yellow ochre and come pick up a little highlight, see? Subtle, but important. A little glopped up, so I'm getting a little more yellow ochre,
Oh, yeah.
a little less. Come and make sure that this is quite well defined, and then I'm going to come in here. So see, we have our nice deep colors. And then by using areas that are highlighted or brighter, we can get brighter with our greens as we come down the line. I can cross over the rock, especially now that the shadow aspect is defined. See?
Oh, yeah.
I can put some blades of grass in front of that one. If I want to brighten it up, I can come right into my Indian yellow and get a little white in that. And say a couple places. Too bright. I want brighter, but not quite that bright. So I'm going to come with more green in. Just where the light might have picked up a few. See?
Mm.
Not everywhere. A little patch can be lighted here, and a little patch can be lighted there. And a little patch could be lighted here. You can light a couple of these up, coming up there, but now we have grass. If I feel like the strokes got too short and not grass-like, I can always come back and define them. As I'm coming up, you know, my grass can be brighter and you can see more of how it is. Or some areas can just be, this is interesting, you might not think of this, just a green and less defined patch. Look at that. So you can have the grass specifically as blades, or you can be like, no, I just want it to be this green right here. But then you could be like, hey, let's get into the next run of events.
Mm.
You know, grab a little, you want to see it really pop, you get a little cad yellow. And that grass really shows. And here we go.
Move that down a little bit.
Little grass sticking out here. But I haven't lost the shadow around the path, so I'm okay. So now I'm getting some grass, I'm getting my path, the hill's starting to come to life. Add some ochre to that. And then through here, just start and also, believe it or not, as you come forward, you can mix the blue and the green. And then this can become that deep. So you can get the depth and the definition really worked out here.
Yeah.
And I'm just doing these grass-like strokes because I'm going to keep layering. I just want to create these textures. Everything okay, babe?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just juggling back and forth with RoboCam, making sure I can see everything here.
So I'm just running these textures through here. And then what can I do really easily? I can come in with some highlights. And just focus on what happens here as we go through. Right?
Mm-hmm.
As we go through, telling our little grass story here. You're going to see things really, really come together in short order. Oh, Stephanie Bergeron's liking me somewhere right now.
Stephanie's in here. She's been in here.
She's like, wait, that was me?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how to
They're
turn.
loving this.
No, I don't mind at all, Stephanie. Don't panic. I don't have those notifications off, mostly because I can't find them. Because they're on Twitter, and who knows what's going on that place. So I'm adding a little of my cad yellow to my phthalo green. And now I'm going to just find a couple places here where the grass has even more highlights, even more going on. This. What do we now believe this is?
That's looking pretty good. The grass is really popping now.
Right. So, like the brightest is closest. Might knock that back. That might be too bright.
I don't know.
And that's super easy to do. I just come back. Oh, too much water on the brush.
Where are you going?
If ever you go in there and you're like, I could swim in that little puddle of water, too much water on the brush. I just came back with some yellow ochre. And it's just going to knock this back enough. I'm still going to have the grass be bright enough to be seen. But the yellow ochre isn't as bright of a yellow aspect. So now I've got this path, right? I can even take a little dry brushed blue. Say some of this could be reflecting, right? Some of it could even be in a couple of the places in the grass, can't it? Look. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, Stephanie's like, I was just tweeting about this. Thank you, Stephanie.
I'm actually really appreciative. Stephanie's very, very supportive. So now I have my background and my middle ground, right? What do I got to do now to make this thing really pop? I need to create a foreground. And to create a foreground, do you know what I need? The most important tool? Fresh cup of coffee. You could give me the Q&A and I'll Q&A while you fresh cup of coffee me. Okay. John says, no, he doesn't trust the stream. Oh. Sometimes he shakes his head and I'm like, oh, okay. I just assume there's always a really good reason. I'm just, hopefully you're starting to see this mystic space start to come together, how this is starting to happen, these values are taking place. everything is well lit, even though it's nighttime. I think that's another important thing to think about is, are we lighting our work even though it's nighttime? And, you know, determining the kind of colors we're going to use and how, oh, hey. I hear you. It's hard for John to get some of this stuff going. I don't even know if my face is in there because I'm seeing the text. So, okay. The stream, the stream. What color will she make the dragon? Asked Christine Carlson. Guesses, please. Oh, well, then I won't ruin that. I know. I know. And, John, you jinxed it, they say. So, oh, Ruth Hooper says that the colors are so pretty together. Thank you. Thank you very much. Alicia Christie, it is not strong enough. She's saying I have strong coffee, and I appreciate your support in the coffee and the Java bean, but no, not strong enough. I really need a Starbucks right now. When John went for coffee, was he holding it together by hand? About. The stream's a little journey today. You know, Jay Moore, stream is challenged for me. Everybody's having a challenge stream. Jennifer is saying she's going to have some Alizarine Crimson in there. Probably when we get into the Dragon's Eye, I might treat myself to some reds. Especially within the egg, possibly. I don't feel like that ruins the surprise. Raven says the stream must flow. And Made My Val Jean says it's hammer time. A hammer. I'm so dorky. Wiggle, wiggle that cord. Oh, and then Kim says it just went nuts when he left. So I guess I just am not allowed to read comments, is what's happening here. No comments. And then Mark is saying that he likes how the umber study is working here, and thanks for the full process. Thank you for putting up with the full process. And then Colleen is like, is red you color, you look fab. Colleen, I don't know if any of you can hear this. I don't know if it's buffering through this as I explain this to you, but it's actually a weird thing. When I was a young woman, I could not wear red because weird, odd things happened to me when I was wearing red, and I gave up on the color. Like it's buffering. They can't even hear me. It's just us making coffee. And then Kim says she loves my outfit today. I think they're just talking and stuff. I don't know that they can see me, but I love seeing them. Oh, I was about to answer Flame Gremlins and...
There's a delay, is what it is.
And Stephanie, she says, loves the dorkiness. Look, I can't do anything. We just went to this whole YouTube training camp, and there were some very cool, stylish, amazing people there. And I realized you know what? We are the creators we are, and I'm never going to be a stylish creator. Dorky's probably going to be my jam, but luckily, I think that's a created and supported... an understood area of YouTube where people are like, she's a bit geeky. She's a bit weird. That's been known to have you seen her mother?
Okay. Yeah, they can say, you can definitely hear you.
My mom and I in an event together is just really funny.
Yeah, they said they can definitely hear you and they can see you. And you know what? Some people are having problems that are regional, too.
Oh, okay.
So, like our feed may be going up and down, but some people are having regional problems.
So I'm wondering, we did so much work here, I'm wondering if I want to show you guys how to put some fog there because I feel like it'll take that detail out. So I'm going to think about it some more as we move forward.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue to define this rock a bit. Rock of Ages. I'm going to mix my two yellows together. And I'm going to add a little black to it.
Now, before we do that, you give me just one moment here.
Then I'm not doing any of this. I'm going to sip my coffee.
You sip your coffee for just a second. I'm gonna try to jiggle the wires one more time. Let's see if let me move the camera down there.
I'm going to just dry brush some character into this rock.
Yeah.
The rock she's perched on needs some, you know, this is hatched how many dragon eggs? We don't know. Many, right?
Yeah.
This is her, we don't know how many babies. This is why our fairies come to see. This is a big deal, right? Just trying to give this rock a rough character. Splatter can be a fun way to define rocks too. Interestingly enough. Now as I'm going, I'm going to do the thing where I do the black and the blue. I'm going to come under here and I'm going to make quite a deep shadow. Because I want it to be quite dark.
Yes.
Like
So
you
it's
do.
shadowy.
Yeah, like you do. It's okay if I take out some of the claws.
Because you're going to be painting it back in.
You know, it goes out, it
Layers.
comes back.
It's
It goes
the
out, it comes
layers.
back. It goes out, it comes back. All right, fiddly brushes.
So you're using a little brush now?
I am. So we're
What
going to
you
be
using?
I am using a number 2 bright,
Okay.
and I'm going to take a smidge of my yellow ochre and my phthalo green, and I'm going to come and work some Indian yellow into it, and I'm going to get it, lighten it, and I'm going to come in and start working our beautiful
Dragon face.
dragon face in. And actually, I think maybe I'm going to switch this. I'm going to probably come back with a dark color around her head. But it'll be nice to glaze it with the light color around her mouth. I hear the dog eating.
She's over there behind you looking at you. She's looking around on the ground. What are you doing?
What are you eating?
Come here, dog.
What is she eating? She's so cute. I love her so much. You want to see her? They gotta see her. She's so cute. Twix. She just loves me. She just loves me.
She loves
I'm
you
her
more.
favorites.
There's the Twixie.
She just Twix us.
Oh,
She's a
she just looks like
stereotype.
a fuzzy mop. There we go. She's the Ewok face.
She's a rug.
She is. She's just a
She's
little.
my adorable little rug. And she cut. Don't approach the easel.
She's protecting you.
She is. She's so cute. However, could I like her best? I don't know. I don't know, but I do. I like her best.
Never seen her do that before.
No, she does. Like when I'm at the easel,
That's
she doesn't let the kids come bug me. She's like, "Woof, woof." She gets under my feet. No,
fun.
we're working right now. It's worky time. So now I'm going to take a little of my phthalo green and my phthalo blue, and I'm going to add a bit of my burnt sienna to it. I'm making a deep, deep green, and this is going to help me with the scaling, is what it is. And that's why I was like, I don't know, I might have to come back with a dark color, because to do the scaling on her, I'm going to need to have a deep value.
Yeah.
Scaling is important. Scaling. She's a very good mama. She knew she was being intruded on. It would be a whole thing, which is why our fairy's hiding.
Ruth was like, what kind of breed? And I was just, I don't know, what kind of breed of dragon is that, Cinnamon? And I was like, oh yeah, they must be talking about Twix. She's a Cavapoo.
She's a Cavapoo.
Which is a Cavalier Spaniel Poodle mix. But I don't know, what kind of dragon is that? What kind of
I
dragon
think
breed?
this is a green forest dragon. I'm going to darken the space behind her. Right? Because this is more of the hill. So I might need to put some like dark grass in there. Like you do when you realize that you missed a spot.
Mm.
And then add a little of the yellow ochre. Because I don't want it to pull too far forward, but I want it to be very grass-like.
Elizabeth's like, the Norwegian Ridgeback Dragon.
Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. She's read all the Harry Potter books.
Yes.
I got the Harry Potter book. It was like the because I wanted to read it before the movie came out, and then I realized, oh, this is not the screenplay or book. Clear on that now. So clear. Wasn't clear at the time. So everywhere that is her, I'm going to be doing in this deep green. So I come back and create this scaling. Though I think I'm going to do like a feather on her wing. Now that's a risk for me, guys. I don't really have a plan for that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I always felt like she should have, a feathered wing. Or a wing that felt a bit like feathers.
You're with those feathered dinosaurs, aren't you?
Dragons, anyways.
Mm.
Feathered dragons, anyways.
I
don't know that I'm not going to do kind of like a peacock thing here.
Oh, yeah.
I might have to have, that's why my phone is here, just in case I have to look up a peacock feather real fast.
A feathered dragon? How silly could you be?
Very silly. That's the kind of silly we like to be. We like to be as silly as we can be. We like to be as silly as we can be.
It's looking pretty cool, though.
She is. So this is the phthalo green, the phthalo blue, and a little burnt sienna.
Yeah.
And that is giving us her dark, dark color. Yeah, I'm thinking that'd be fun to do on her wig. So I'm going to just go for it, even though it's probably super ill-advised. You can go with the leathery, safer leathery option if you're like, oh, you haven't thought that out well. I won't judge, I promise. Now I'm going to do Indian yellow on the horns.
Mm-hmm.
You can do any yellow deep that you have. And you'll notice this is a very transparent color, so it glazes over them really, really well.
Hmm. So what do you think about using a rake brush for feathers?
I think it's perfectly fine. I have a rake brush somewhere. Someone makes a really good one, and they sent me one. And it's a ruby satin. And I don't know where I have it. Oh, there it is. Look. Oh, this is the grass comb.
It's a grass comb, which is very similar.
It's very similar. Okay, so I'm still thinking things out. Bear with me, my friends.
Where'd you go? Oh, there you are.
These are so fun to do. I'm just making sure that this shadow is quite deep, so that as her scaling shows, it will actually help it pop. I've always been really sad that fantasy art or illustration art, sometimes, not all the time, I think good artists always respect other good artists, but I think sometimes get some shade. And I think that's crazy because this is a really involved skill.
Yeah.
You
No
know?
kidding.
To work this imaginatively is a super involved skill, but everything just has a fashion and a time, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and so like it will come in and out of fashion. But regardless of the fashion, I always think this is awesome.
I love
Pull
fantasy.
a little white out and my yellow. Because I want to pop along the top of the horn.
Just a little, that's the little reflections,
Well, highlight.
highlights.
Yeah. And then what I can do is you can always come in the opposite side to help it pop. See?
Oh, yeah.
But they still feel like they're,
Really nice.
you know, and that's like a color that she might have, you know, as she's hunting and stuff, because it wouldn't completely reveal her.
Hmm.
Right? Because she wouldn't want something that was going to like completely out her and, you know, warn the sheeples. And the goatles.
All the things you're going to eat. Ooh, look, Valerie just put in a neat dragon emoji. That's clever.
Oh, cool.
I have not seen one of those in there before.
And since I've done that here, what I can do is I can then make her talons The same thing down here.
Oh, we go down there and look. Oh, yeah.
John, I'm gonna turn the painting
Okay.
so that I'm painting to this.
So your arm's a little better there?
Yeah.
Go over there.
Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Get my little highlight like I did before. Make sure I highlight my talons. There we go. So she's got some talons that we're checking out. And I think I'm definitely gonna get in her eye with just a little bit of this as a start. Even though we're gonna come back with some contrast colors to make the eyes really stand out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, that's really pretty cool.
Are you liking that?
Yeah. I like the pathway a lot.
You do?
Yeah, the pathway. See how the pathway just looks so cool?
It does look okay.
It looks very adventurous. I do like it.
I like it too.
And I'm looking forward to the crystals there in the foreground.
Yeah, actually we're about to get onto those.
I'm interested to see what color you're going to do those in.
I'm going to probably do them in purples, but I've
I
got
thought that's
my
what you might
magenta.
do. Yeah. I could see you going with the quins and magentas.
You're like, no surprise there.
Yeah. Maybe pink. If I were super lucky, they might make it into the ultramarine blue direction.
Oh, that would be... Do you want me just to paint you some blue crystals?
No, I think this. You paint on like I get to see you paint something new every day. I am not at a loss for watching new paintings. I love this. So,
Okay, because I will.
I know.
Okay.
I liked Azure Wing Repose.
Totally here for you creatively.
Yeah, we got a lot of that in Azure Wing Repose though.
We did.
When you did that, and that was a really good one because you did it in Glow too.
I did in Glow.
That one was fun.
We still have to do that with a painting. So many tasks on the Sherpa task list.
There's a few task lists.
So many tasks.
I think we now have task lists of tasks.
We have lists of tasks and jobs. Jobs and jobs and jobs. All right. Okay, here we go. So now we've got that color in, right? The trick about these is making sure that you have lots of different colors and reflections and values. So I'm going to add some little highlights some places. You know, and then this, I'm pulling down a little of the quin here, and I can come here with a little bit of the quin at this tip. Right? And then where we have the purple worked out, you can, and it can even help to do zinc, because zinc is so transparent. I'll just be like, oh, no, you're just down here. There you go.
I like how those all come together.
Yeah, it just comes together.
Yeah, no one would be unhappy if you did a blue painting of crystals, though. It would seem
Okay.
they're like, no, we would like that.
That's okay.
We would like that too. You could do that
if you feel like you must.
If you did pink ones, we would like those. If you did maybe some rainbow ones, those would be okay too.
So I'm just
You could just do any of them.
And creating facets, right? That's what we're doing, is we're saying this has facets, and what are those facets? And each facet, you know, it's reflecting light and...
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to fix their facets are fascinating. So before you get too in those, you get a sippy there.
I could use some coffee.
The people were fascinated by the facets of the crystal. So before we got too far into the facets of the facets.
Before we got too faceted?
Yeah, I thought I would see if that would,
Improve it?
Improve it.
So one of the things when you're doing facets is you just want to make sure that you have areas that have kind of almost like a shadow. Even darker than that. Goodness gracious. Even darker than that. I'm going to have to come in with actual dog's ink, but I'm going to try to do it with just my magenta and my blue. Where you're showing the depth of. And that's what will start pulling a crystal in together is the,
Oh, yeah.
the shadow. And finding that highlight.
Yeah.
Finding the bright, 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 bright highlights. So it's okay to take a minute in your crystals and think about things. Here we go. And I'm just going to keep painting these until I feel like pretty happy with them. You know, in these color ranges. So they're a bit amethysty, and that's okay. You could do these in any colors that really appeal to you.
Mm.
This one has a little bit of a jag break to it. And when I come around here, I'm just going to pull right into the blue.
I like how those crystals are turning out. So cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Super duper fun. Super duper fun, man.
I like them.
Sometimes crystals are super duper. Super duper. I've become, if you watch Orphan Black, two of you like figured out I was doing crystal from Orphan Black, so.
Doing what?
Crystal from Orphan Black.
Oh.
Anywho.
Okay.
like
Look at
there's
that.
a couple people's like, oh
See,
my gosh, is
step-
that crystal?
see, step back and look.
I can't do Cosima but I can do crystal from Orphan Black pretty
I
well.
like that. See, look at how cool those purple crystals look there.
Yeah, they look really good, right?
Yeah.
But then we gotta highlight them.
Yeah, highlight them with pink.
Gotta highlight them with some white. And that's a fluid white that I put on my brush, and I'm gonna just make sure that a couple of the facets
Oh, I wasn't expecting that. That's neat.
are.
I was thinking you were gonna like put little swatches on there or something. That's cool. You're like
See how they just pop now?
edging them. Like, yeah, makes them look like they're all glinty.
Because they're glinty.
If this was an 80s painting, you could put the little star speckle glitter reflections on each one. That meow meow. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Like, spink, spink, spink.
Yep. You know, because they made those sounds in the animations.
This was almost a very floral hill, so y'all don't even know. Maybe we'll visit this world in spring.
You could flower it up if you wanted. I would like, not you. I mean, like you, the empirical you, like you. If you at home would like to flower it up,
So I was like, I'm not committing you. Like,
Cinnamon's like, "Are you committing me to flowers?" I'm like, "I'm not committing you to flowers.
I'm not doing nothing. I'm doing nothing.
I commit no and promise not to promise."
I've made no promises. So I'm
So
going to
what
make some Indian yellow.
What brush are you using there?
This is still my number 2.
A number 2 bright.
I'm
Okay.
also going to take my phthalo blue and phthalo green, and I'm going to add some white to that. And I've got these kind of greens going. And I think I'm probably going to pull another little green in here
Yeah.
of my phthalo green and my cat. See, I've got those 3 now, don't I?
3.
3 greens.
1, 2,
3.
4.
All right. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to just kind of dash this around her eye. And then I'm going to bring this lid up. And she might have this down here too. I will come back with the dark color to lid her again.
Mm-hmm.
And she's probably going to get one more light color there. A little more Indian yellow in this, and white. So once I have this, I'm going to see if I can just do the corner. just doing little dashes to represent the scales.
Those are so nice.
It could be nice.
They are nice.
I want to keep the shadow down here.
I like how those are coming in. It looks very scaly.
Yeah. It's just a nice way to get a scale in. If you painted Gil with me, this is going to feel familiar.
Gil the goldfish.
Gil the goldfish. He's a happy, happy, happy little goldfish. But we want her to feel like what we talked about. She's a forest dragon. This forest elf, forest dragon.
Yeah.
Right? Just the corner of my brush. You could use a small little round detail brush if you wanted to. You could use a dotting tool. What you're trying to make is an implied texture. You want to say areas of her have larger scaling, then you would just press more. Right? Maybe like right here we can cross the top of her little claws here. Now, I'm going to take some of this aqua. I might even let the green get into it, but we're making it a lighter color, aren't we? And we're going to come here and dash in another highlight there. Just giving her some depth so that she's just a little more than a pretty face.
I like it. I like the depth that you're adding with the little layers.
And it's fun to do.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. I might add a little bit to her at the front here, just a little. Alright, now I'm going to get into the blue and green again. Alright. Let's make sure that we add the scales that come in the depth. Right?
Oh. Oh, yeah.
Alright, so these are the deep scales. These come up here. Maybe
Little mouth divide line shadow.
put a little of this around her eye. See?
Yeah, a little eyeshadow.
A little bit. Little thought. Little something. Get a little of the Indian yellow.
Everyone's
Do
like,
the
wow, this
zinc
is...
if you want.
Everyone loves it. This is when the layers start to come together, really.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, you know, underpaintings and all that.
Yeah, it's just...
We're now getting to the...
I think that's why, you know, a lot of art that's, you know, more complex has a lot of speed component to it. Because it's a minute to get there.
Yep.
All right, so we've got some bright scales. We've got some deep scales. This is our foremost object, so it's kind of what I'm going to do the egg.
Uh-huh.
And then we're going to hit the eyes and the wings are going to be the last things that we hit. Now, I had kind of a neat idea for the egg.
You got to sign it, though, too.
Oh, yeah, I'm signing it. I'm going to put out, this is one of my favorite, some of my iridescent gold.
Oh, what are you going to do that on there?
This is iridescent gold deep fine. Yes, I think there's a difference between the metallic paints, and this is my favorite. My favorite.
Your favorite.
Or Daniel Smith's gold gesso. Also my favorite.
Ooh, that does look really nice.
Isn't that fun?
That looks pretty cool.
Now we're going to definitely come back and add some shadow and work these cracks. But I just wanted this metallic effect on the egg. A little bit. And while that's drying, I'm going to come in with a detail brush and think about her eyes some. And I'm going to put out my alizarin and my, just a smidge. You could probably get away with just doing cad. I'm being fiddly. So you could just probably get away with doing cad. But I want to make these really bright eyes that pop on her. And I've got a lot of cad yellow out still, so I'm pretty good there.
This is getting really close.
Yeah, we're really, really close. No, I don't want cad. Changing my mind.
While you're fixing that.
And also changing my water.
You change your water.
Can I sip some coffee?
Yeah, you can sip your coffee.
Okay. All right, I'm going to get the deep. Look at this gorgeous red. I love this because this is the most, to me, and if you did the beholder with me, you'll know I feel like this is very much like blood red. So I'm going to come underneath her eye and around the outer edges with this deep red. All right. I've wiped off the brush and I'm going to come get some just, if it's not dried out, some pure cad. I'm going to pull this yellow from the iris out. See that? Dragon eyes are like the coolest and yet easiest thing to do. If you lose your definition, you just come right back with your deep red. You're always essentially doing some version of the iris there on. Well, you don't have to, because there's a lot of different types of dragon. I can do that. I'm in no way allergic to cadmium. At all. But you shouldn't touch paint to your skin if you don't know your allergies. Because you could be.
Yeah.
Super allergic to paint. Weird thing you might not know. I'm taking some black. I'm coming here. And I'm just defining that more.
That eyelet looks really cool.
Right. I'm going to come in, make sure I define that center. All right, she's got her yellow, she's got her red.
Yeah.
For me, it's worth it to do little pops of cad.
Little pops.
It's just shows to me, and I can feel like I can really see it, and then it makes the eye like glow, and then the red eye glows against the green, and then you're like, everything glows. I'm going to take my black. I'm going to come in and deepen this nostril again. I'm also going to just come right here and just make sure that this is dark enough to be seen. Now I'm going to come through here once this is all rinsed out of black. And I'm going to take some yellow, and maybe there's a smidge of green into it, but not a lot. And a good bit of white. So it's quite light. On the tip of this brush.
Oh, I didn't expect that.
Just give her some lip scales.
That is cool. I hadn't thought about that.
And a little bit underneath here of little dash scales.
That's pretty cool. Everybody's loving the eye.
A little bit on top of her nostril.
Christine was especially ecstatic about the eye.
Yeah, she's got a good eye.
It does a good eye.
You know, I do that. I do a good eye. And so she's in her world. She's standing out. She's got enough contrast. The egg can now take its next layer.
Okay.
All right.
You're going to egg it on?
I got to egg it on. So I'm going to take my blue, add a little quin to it. Just a small amount, but still pretty blue. I'm going to glaze. And I'm going to make sure.
Ooh, I did not expect that.
That I am I'm putting a little glaze at the base of this egg, making it feel a little more in shadow here. Like that.
Yeah.
Now you can come back and really, really strengthen your gold at the top so it's nice and very metallic. And then I think I'm going to get a little of my magenta in my gold. And make sure there's some of that. So that she feels very gem-like.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to make this feel like it is its own gemstone. The way the reflections hit and the different tonalities, especially to the human eye, will feel very, very gemstony. Which you kind of want.
Yeah.
And you guys actually asked for. So I'm just trying to make sure that this has got kind of like that similar quality to gemstone.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
And while I'm at it, I can come in and make sure this is a little deeper. We'll come finish her eye last.
Mm-hmm.
The baby's eye in here. What I'm doing is I'm defining the cracks. See?
Mm.
So the egg is cracking and hatching and coming into its own. Go ahead and really, really deepen some of this space around the base of the egg so that it feels in depth. All right.
I like it.
I'm loving this.
I think it looks really good.
The last two things I think are going to just like blow y'all's mind.
Just a little wing and a signature?
Yeah, I'm just going to, And you've got the footage we talked about?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. I'm freaking out then. for the fast video?
Oh, yeah, I got that. Yeah, totally got that. our marriage code. I don't know. She's texting me or what is she doing over there? You looking up your reference picture?
I'm just, you know what? Here's the deal. You have these awesome phones, right?
Yeah.
These fantastic phones. Use them.
I don't see you. What are you doing? All I see is your YouTube hat.
Huh?
I see your YouTube hat.
You only see my YouTube hat, but
Yeah.
I see what I need to see, and that's all that's important.
You got your
Maybe it's not all that's important, but it's what it's what I'm working on right now. And I'm just trying to figure out how I want to tell this story, right?
Uh-huh. So you got a little eye peeking out of the egg there in the middle.
All right, so I'm taking the blue, I'm making the phthalo turquoise. And up here.
Now, the eye and the egg, are you going to define it a little more too?
Oh, yes. Of course. Of course.
That's...
Yes. So I think actually I'm going to go ahead and just go the whole shebang. I want this all in this color.
Yeah?
Yeah. We can go all in. So I'm just taking a number 4 bright, and I'm going all in.
All in on the wing.
All in.
Oh, yeah. That looks pretty cool. And with that umber study, it goes really fast now because all the tonality is already there.
And sometimes it's almost like a save point for you where you're like, wait, what does this need to be? And then the umber study sometimes just helps you remember, oh, it's in shadow here.
Yeah.
Just a way to do it. A way. Many, many ways. right? Many, many ways. Many ways.
Mm-hmm.
All right, rinsing these all out. Going to see if this does. I'm wondering if this is a filbert grass comb. So we're going to see if this works. If it doesn't, I'll use something else. I won't even be stressed about it. But it'd be really great if it did some of this for me in short order.
What you're looking for it to do?
It's going to help me do some feather texture, I hope.
Oh, a feather texture.
Yes, I hope. We'll see. Because I'm looking to make her wing
Oh, that's kind of neat, yeah.
look like it's something.
It kind of, I see. It does add a little.
It's actually doing what I'm hoping it to do, so we're okay.
It's kind of neat.
It's kind of cool. Kind of cool. We're just trying to I need to create this sort of just through here, just a smidgy bit. So it's noticeable.
Yeah, it gives that really streaky, nice kind of
Yeah.
broken up layer look.
Right? And we don't want it everywhere because we're just trying to tell a certain story so that when I might take that up a little further into the wing so I can do more of what I'm wanting to do. Further up. Because I think people are going to freak out when they see it. I've just noticed we've all been into certain things lately. And you know me, I like to really serve joy.
Yes.
I like to serve the joy. A little bit of the joy. Just giving myself some room here. You guys are going to squeal your little minds off. You're going to be so happy. I'm almost like excited, like super excited to be like, oh, and you're going to be like, no, she's not. And I'm like, she is. Not since 1982 has a dragon ever come to you like this. Sorry. So I put out some more Indian yellow. And I'm adding a little white to my color so it really, pops.
Pops.
So I'm going to, as I come up to this part of the wing, make a more kind of feathered stroke. And when I do this part down here, it's going to just all be like, oh, no way. Is that what we were always doing? And I'm going to be like, I knew the answer all along.
There's a vote to see this one done on a 40 by 60.
40 by 60, y'all pay me. I'm free art education globally all the time, but 4860, that's a super chat. Is on, and every time I impress you, man, it is raining. Right. Okay.
Did you get more paint? You picking your paints?
I'm just looking at what I have. I'm going to take my burnt sienna and my cad red light, and I'm going to add some Indian yellow to it. And I think that's going to give me essentially what I'm looking for. On my number 2, if this would just stay on, that would be fantastic. Oh. And I'm going to...
What are you doing down here?
Some people just already figured it out and started screaming in their heads.
Oh, I think I see them. I think they look pretty cool already.
Yeah. Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think that's enough of that. I may have to switch back into my little red brush. My little red brush.
Yeah.
Where are you? You make me so happy. All right. Then I'm gonna get some blue and some white. The white is super dry, so I'm gonna pop its skin. Some blue and white, mostly blue. At the back here, I'm gonna drop some blue. Oh, yeah.
Oh, peacock feathers are looking nice.
Oh, did everybody figure it out?
Oh, yeah. They're definitely like, oh, it's a peacock dragon feather.
Peacock dragon. Because, you know.
Because that's what we need.
That's exactly what we need.
I can only imagine the call of this dragon.
Ew.
Because if you ever heard a real peacock, they sound remarkably like someone in the woods.
Being murdered?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's a thing.
So you can only imagine that the call of the peacock dragon
Is a special call.
Although I have to say that this dragon, when it deployed its little peacock feather wings, would probably look pretty plumagedly big.
Can you imagine the tail?
Woof. Now you're gonna have to like do more peacock dragon. So you've opened the door on
You
peacock
know what happens
dragon.
if I do peacock dragons? All the artists on YouTube will think they have to do peacock dragons. You gotta be nice.
Well, let's do more peacock dragons and find out.
We're looking around going, that's a lot of peacock dragon. All right. So I'm still going.
Yeah?
I'm not done.
We still have to do the eye in there too.
Yeah. Which I'm going to take more into a magenta so that it
magenta?
shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a little purple in it, but I want it more into the magenta. Even lighter. Not enough contrast. It has to have a lot of contrast. And then I'm going to go into my gold. Oh, did you know it was going there?
Oh, look at that. I did not expect that. They're like, the only thing you could do now is make the glitter heads explode.
She's a pretty girl, though, isn't she?
Yeah.
And I feel like she goes with Viridian.
Yeah.
Like, this is a truly magical world. And this is what I mean by, you know, when we started this journey and we were talking about her, I listened. There are those of you who are like, she heard the suggestion, she included this. This is how we world build.
Yeah.
And we are world builders. When someone comes and sees this painting from now on, there's a whole world that they're now thinking about, that you guys will be thinking about, where this dragon and that fairy live.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens because of how we build these worlds. So see, I'm just doing the dragon feather paint, like, some of these are hidden behind other feathers, and I'm just tucking them in and enjoying this. It's almost like a relaxing meditative doodle. I would say the other word, but it's all copyrighted. And they super defend their space.
It's all right. We can just be zen about everything. Let it go.
We'll be zen. See, we're just adding a little bit of this through. So now I have this peacock. She makes me so happy.
So now our peeking eye. That's it.
The peeking, well, I'm going to define a little claw here real quick.
Okay.
Because it just needs a little.
I see the peeking eye too. So I'm like,
I'm just like looking at this, just wanting this to be a little more. There we go. So let's come in and get some green and yellow. Maybe some of this yellow is fine. Let's come in and get some green and yellow. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What could be happening?
I don't know.
What? I'll have to put out a little more cad yellow. Where'd it go? I'm going to have a sip of coffee while I think about my cad yellow.
Think about where your cad yellow is?
Nope, it's cold now. I've been out here a long time, Mr.
You've been out here 2 cups of coffee worth.
I've been here 2 cups of coffee, but seriously?
The dragon is looking pretty fly.
What else is YouTube? I guess you could do this on Twitch too, but what else is YouTube for? If not for really fun art adventures like this, right? Oh, this is green on my brush still. We don't want green and red together because they are complementary colors, and this will take away the vibrancy of the red.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, we are literally the eye and a signature, and we will have completed one of the longest art journeys we've ever even attempted to take.
Yeah, this was a big one.
This was a big one. This was a super duper big journey. That we had.
The eyes, the way that you make those look so cool.
Yeah, I love doing these. So the real thing is about just reds to the outer edges. Just Ceron it up. You know, and then what's going on with the black paint? Give him a little shadow too. She's having a boy.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
Okay. She's like, yeah, I see it.
That's pretty cool. No,
and that's the other reason it's a big deal, because these are rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. There are not very many peacock dragons.
Right? And even less boy peacock dragons.
Ah.
Because they tend to show off. And are highly prized for their feathers.
I see.
So that's why this fairy group has to protect them from poachers.
I see.
So Viridian has some big news for her community.
I'm guessing those poachers are dwarves.
Dude, you know me. You know me so well. I'm just going to make sure the egg is... There we go. I'm just defining the crack. Look at this. We did it.
The signature? You still have to sign it?
I still have to sign it.
But man, it really is. You got like this is just everyone's loving this. You just knocked it out of the park on this one. Man. That is so good. I was like,
I'm going to do it gold.
You do it gold?
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That would match.
Yeah. So always just think about those things in your paintings. You know, even down to the signature. Does this work here? Is this part of the world that I've just built? Because you spend so much time. Now it's like my signature's on the path, which is like sort of funny. Okay.
That's pretty awesome.
We did it. We did it. We painted the painting. Took 3 parts, but we did it. Painted the painting. Had to do some of it on our own homework, but we painted the painting. Anyone that does this painting, I just want to thank you for trying it. Don't let it frustrate you. Don't let it overwhelm you. This is just about learning these skills, right? It is very rare that you get to do a workshop with somebody that explains all this stuff, and so just enjoy it. And enjoy the fact that your challenge for this week is to absolutely embrace being imaginative, creative, and different in every way.
Absolutely. So, guys, man, this was such a fun painting. I just got all our little buttons pushed over here so that we're all have everything ready to go. Nobody wants to go. They're all having a great time. And this was an amazing, amazing painting. This was so much fun. I will make sure that we get some pictures of this and put it up there. We'll have it up on the website. So if you look in the links below, there's a link to the website where you can find a link to all the information about this, the traceables, all those things. You can find our chat going on out there. We hang out there and just all the things going on. And we'd love to see all your pictures, of course. So please share those on social media, right? And we've got over 400 likes on this one.
And
so it's been pretty nice.
I'm pretty pleased with that.
Yeah.
So we have to name her. Better tell me in the comments what she's named. Because we got Viridian and who dat?
I don't know. We have to come up with a name for
We
her.
also have bonus points for name that tree.
Oh, name the tree. The sleepy tree. Sleepy tree needs a name.
You don't even want to know. If the tree wakes up, it's no good.
Yeah.
In my world, that's much like a werewood. If the tree wakes up.
Well, guys, it was really nice seeing you today.
Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And I'm going to see you at the easel really soon. Bye-bye.